need a haircut real bad. Resident Evil 2. What? Remake's coming out. Okay, so God damn, there's actually a lot to say. For everyone who doesn't know, Resident Evil 2 is actually like my favorite game of all time, and I really do love the early Resident Evil games, like the classic ones. 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica. I even like Zero. But so this is actually a game I wanted for a long time. Ever since I played the original remake, and then I played 2. I really wanted this. I really wanted this game to come out for a long time. I saw what they did with the original remake, and I wanted them to. I wanted them to do that with the second one because I just felt like the first remake they just did so well. They made many improvements and added so much to the game, but it felt like it was still the classic Resident Evil game at its core. So I wanted that same treatment for 2. And when they finally announced it, I was like, yes, they're going to make the game, but it took so long for anything to come out, and now we finally have some footage, but it's a little frustrating that it just hasn't come out till now, and whatever. The game's coming out in January, but we'll get to that after. But all right, so I guess so. The trailer shows a lot of just a lot of cutting away scenes. It's just like a showing off trailer, like showing, oh, we have the game actually finally. So I guess the first thing I want to say is that it doesn't seem familiar. A lot of the places, this obviously I can imagine the game like running through the halls. I know what parts connect to each room and what hallways lead where. I mean, I don't know the game inside out like super well. I haven't played it in so many years because since they announced it, I didn't want to replay it. But I mean, like, I know I can picture many iconic areas and stuff, and they didn't really show any of that in this reveal, which was kind of annoying. My hair is really annoying too. God damn. Like, they show in the second one actually, where they show more of the gameplay footage. They show a scene with basically entering the police station, and you see the front of the police station with that statue over like the fountain area, that little pool part, and it looked a little different actually. It looked very different. Maybe not very different, but it looked pretty different. There was things changed around. There was two staircases in the back that lead up instead of, well, nothing in there, instead of just a ladder. So it actually looked decently different, and it didn't immediately, like, I mean, obviously I knew where it was, but it wasn't like, oh, that's that place, like, oh, it looks just like it, but because it didn't. It didn't really like bring a familiarity to me. I don't know why, but that was a little worrying because I was wondering how different they're gonna be changing things. Maybe it was because of the angle it was presented, but I don't know. I was just like, okay, yeah, they're in the police station. I know they're in the police station, but it doesn't feel like the RE2 police station quite right. Like, they just showed parts, and I knew what parts they were at, where they were taking place, or what rooms they were, but it just didn't feel like, oh, that's that place. Oh, that's that place. And, like, I don't know. It just didn't feel that way to me. And I felt like for a remake, I feel like it should have felt that way, but it kind of didn't. When they were outside, it didn't feel like it. Like, him walking up to the police station from the outside, it didn't feel like it. It was very different. Like, it felt like a different game. And not that it should be a carbon copy of it, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like I knew exactly where things were, or it just didn't look quite right. And again, it's made ground up, but I don't know. That just felt a little off there. So another thing was the Leon. He looks pretty different now, which is fine with me. Leon looks really young though, compared to his RE6 look, and I mean, he still looks different though. He has a rounder face, I feel now, and I mean, that's fine. I hope his personality comes across as it did in Resident Evil 2, because in 4 and then 6, they changed his personality like quite a bit. Like he just feels more gritty and more um seen. That's not right. I don't know. I just felt like I got more character from Resident Evil 2 than 4 and 6 like combined. Like I don't know, they just made him this a duller character, I felt. And I'm terrible at describing characteristics and traits and personalities, but like I just felt like there was more there in 2 than the other games. They briefly showed Claire and Sherry in both of them, so it's kind of fine. I do like, I like how Claire's outfit looks. It looks pretty good. That was a thing I loved about Claire. I loved her character design. I really liked it. It stood out to me. So I'm glad. What I see now, it's like it's a bit different, but I like it. It's not bad or anything. I feel like she has like a very obvious lipstick tone on. I don't know why, but I never imagined Claire really wearing lipstick too much. It looks a little off. I don't know. I love Sherry's new design though. I like her little uniform, her school uniform, because it feels more like a private school uniform than whatever the hell she was wearing before, which looked like she was like dressed up as a sailor. I don't know why she looked like that. I never really understood that. I thought it looked a little weird. I never really cared for her design. But actually, I really like this on her. Like it looks like a real preppy private school design. Like it looks good. Like they showed a little glimpse of Ada in what was like a mysterious trench coat. Like they're kind of giving that mysterious noir, like mystery lady kind of thing vibe from her, which was it was pretty cool. A little nod there. They didn't show anything else of her, just her silhouette really in the garage where you find her. Let's see. There was parts where it sounded like Annette Birkin was talking. How he's like there's immense strength coming from the I guess the zombies or whatever. Probably William Birkin. But then she says something about like we didn't mean for it to happen like this or whatever. So I'm pretty sure that's Annette Bergen talking there. They surprisingly didn't show like anything about William Birkin. I saw nothing in there. That was actually a bit of a surprise. Like, I don't know if they're gonna have like another trailer going on later. Like maybe down the road they'll reveal another trailer and it'll have maybe revolving more around Claire, because I know everybody loves Leon, but I was always more Team Claire. So I hope they actually do give a trailer like just really focused on Claire, because they didn't show like anything about Claire in this, which kind of bugged me a little bit because I like Claire. She's my girl. She's my favorite RE character. But they didn't show anything. They showed one scene with her. I guess technically 2, but like literally she had like 5-10 seconds of like time on there, and then between like the 2 like clips, and Leon had like, I don't know, who knows, like fucking probably 2 minutes or 3 minutes worth of the 5 total minutes. I don't know. Like it was a lot, and like Claire got like nothing. She got one line to speakers, like that was it. And I don't know. Like show more of Claire. Come on, I want to see more Claire. Like so I think they will release another trailer with Claire later on of her being, you know, her side of the story, because I get the feeling that they're not going to go for a split storyline. I mean, I feel like they are, but I feel like they're gonna make him just 2 stories. They're not gonna have Claire A or Leon A, and then play the opposite that you unlock later on. I feel like you're just gonna have a standalone. You play as Claire or Leon, because I just feel like that's a vibe I'm kind of getting from it. Just because they haven't shown anything for William Birkin. So I feel like when they do Claire's reveal thing, they're gonna show, if they do that, if they do a reveal trailer for Claire or something, you know, just focused around Claire. I feel like it's gonna be, they're gonna show William Birkin in that. Maybe they won't at all, but I feel like that's what they're gonna go. That's the route they're gonna take. And then yeah, so there's nothing really to talk about for William Birkin. I mean, he's definitely gonna be in the game. Like that doesn't make sense to take him. But I guess the composite to William Birkin would be the tyrant in the game. The T00, is that what it is? I forget. but he goes by Mr. X, which is silly, but whatever. Mr. X in the game, I don't understand it, but they gave him a hat. I don't know why they gave him a hat. The guy with the trench coat, and for people who don't know what I'm talking about, the gray man with the trench coat. They show him from behind, and he's wearing a hat. I don't understand it, because the trench coat is kind of like silly already, but like the trench coat is explained later as it's called a limiter, I think. It's to cover and like stop. It somehow it's like a magical coat, I guess. I don't know. It's a trench coat that has the properties to restrict this tyrant form to restrict it from mutating, and they don't want it mutating all over the place and shit, so they put a coat on it that restricts it from like doing it. So I don't know why they need a hat for it. Some guys just like, it just looks off without the hat, give him the hat. It's funny, it's weird, but I get like from the Fantastic Four movie, if you ever seen that, when the first one, when the Thing, he first turns into the Thing, and he's running around town with a trench coat, and he has the hat too, and he's like kind of like sneaking around, like calling his wife or something. Like I that's what it reminds you of, because it's just some big fucking thing with like a weird trench coat, and there's some hat. Like I don't understand why he has a hat. I don't understand why he has a hat. I don't get it. It's kind of funny. It's just silly. It's silly. It doesn't make sense, and I feel like there's no point in it, because while the coat can stay on him, because with arms and shit, the hat could easily fall off, and what's the point of the hat if it's like it can't do something, because the hat could fall off so easily? It doesn't make any sense. The hat, why does he have a hat? That is probably my biggest question. Why does he have a hat? God damn it. They showed a couple other characters. They showed Marvin Brannigan, I don't know his last name. I can't remember that, but he's the police officer Leon meets first. He's telling him to not, just don't make the same mistake I did. So I'm assuming he is wounded, because he's supposed to be wounded when you first meet him, like originally, and he tells you to get the F out of there. But with a gun in the original, so I don't know if he's gonna do that in this, but it's pretty interesting. That he seems better. He seems okay. Looks like he could maybe pull through. I know better though. They didn't show. I believe the only other character besides that they showed, and character quote unquote, is the mayor's daughter, who was lying on the table, but she's not doing too well. So that's all we saw for the characters. I believe I don't remember anyone else. I don't remember any voices or anything. There was no reveal of Hunk. They didn't show Annette Birkin. They didn't show William Birkin. It didn't show the police chief. It didn't show Ben Bertolucci. It didn't show any of those guys. I think that's really it for characters in the game. Oh no, Robert Kendo didn't show him. But I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna see all them. We should see all them. They all play a prominent role, kind of. I guess now I gotta talk about the part that I'm a little iffy on. Okay, so the gameplay, it looks like the gameplay is behind the shoulder, over the shoulder, behind the back, like Resident Evil 4, and that's unfortunate, because that's not what I was hoping for. I was really hoping that they would stay with the original Resident Evil 2 style. I did play Resident Evil 7 recently for the first time, and I was a bit worried about that. I thought that was going to be more of an Outlast kind of wannabe, with the first person perspective, but it actually surprised me, and it was pretty. It reminded me a lot of the older Resident Evil games with the puzzles. This could surprise me. I'm going to try to keep an open mind about it. I just really just wanted it. God damn, I just really wanted that security camera angles. Like, I just really like that. The original Resident Evil remake had that, and they did it so well. They did it so well that I just was really hoping that they would make it. but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I guess I'll go into what I want to see from the game. So I want to see more areas in the police station. I want to see a lot of puzzles in there. I want to see more puzzles than what they had originally. Maybe a little bit more of a struggle between the police chief and like Claire, because I know there's that whole interaction there. It would be cool if at some point Claire and Leon, maybe they meet their composite characters. Jeez, like Leon interacts with Ada like all the time, and but Claire never sees her in the original game, and then Claire interacts with the police chief and Brian Irons, and Leon never sees them, and which would be an interesting interaction because Leon is this new cop, and the police chief's supposed to be his boss, but he never interacts with them. So I think that would be cool if there was a bit of an interaction there, and maybe Claire ran into Ada at some point, and maybe Claire didn't even know anything about Ada, and she just ran into Ada at some point. Like, I think it would be cool to have those interactions there. I really do. I want them to be two separate storylines, though. I want there to be play as Claire and play as Leon. I don't want there to be. I hope they don't do that. You play as like Leon for parts, and then you play as Claire for parts, and you kind of go back and forth. I don't really want that. I still want the separate stories. And you play as Claire and you play as Leon. I want it to stay that way. I hope that they introduce Crimson Heads, because I feel like it was a cool add-on for the original RE. It'd be a shame if they just kind of threw it away and never used it again. I really hope they use it here, because they could have used that in Resident Evil 0, and unless I haven't played that game in a while, but as far as I remember, they weren't in that game either, which they should have been. I feel like that should have been an obvious choice, but they didn't do it. So I really hope they make a return in Resident Evil 2. I mean, it'd be alright if I think it would be okay if they added like hunters in the game, because RE3 had hunters, and that kind of takes place in between, like it overlaps RE2. So I think if they put hunters, that'd be fine. Because lickers are thrown in very early in the game. Excuse me. So they're not like a super threat. They're not like a hunter, because the original RE, like the hunters were, they like show up like halfway through the game, and they're like this this big threat, like these things that jump around, they run around, they're fast and stuff. And lickers are kind of like a hunter, but like less threatening form, but they're still pretty threatening, and you definitely want to get out of there, get away from them, or dispose of them quickly like a hunter. But it would be interesting to have like a hunter in there, or if they could just make like, I know that there was different types of lickers later on and stuff, and that was fine, but I don't know, it'd be cool if they just maybe threw a couple hunters in there, or other enemies. It'd be cool if they introduced something else just to keep us on our toes, like surprise us a bit. So I really do want those Crimson Heads in there. I think those are really cool. And I guess that actually reminds me of that. I really like, even though the gameplay seems to be going the RE4 way, I really hope I really hope item management stays the same, because I honestly really adore that. I'm glad Resident Evil 7 had that. They had the limited space. You could pick up more. I think that would be cool if they had that added in. So it'd be nice if they just they please just kept it that way, please. Like if this turns out to be RE2, RE4 edition, like, I'm gonna be upset, because that's just, RE4 is nothing like RE2. Like, it's very different. So I don't want them to just take RE2, like the setting, and then just make it into an RE4. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Keep it Resident Evil 2. At least, like, obviously you can change some things, you can improve other things, you can change things around, but don't change the entire game. It's a remake, it's not like a reboot. So please just don't don't mess with it so much where it's barely comparable to the older game. So I really hope they keep that. I hope they keep a bunch of the puzzles in there. I hope they make more intricate puzzles, like in RE1 remake. They did that pretty well. I hope they add a hard mode into it too, because I remember RE2, like, I just didn't feel like there was enough in there. They had the tofu mode and the hunk, the force survivor, which was, they're cool like add-ons at the end, but to me they weren't ever that fun or interesting, I guess. I hope that they have limited saves in there too. I'd want that back. I just found out recently that Resident Evil 7 on Madhouse mode, they have limited saves, so I want to replay that and go through there. So hopefully they have that, because again, it's like a core mechanic of the game. Like, don't change so much of it. Ah, damn. Why do I even have these headphones on? My calling, I'm calling at night. I don't mean to be a bother. There was a couple times, and I think it was maybe it was more than two, but only two pop in my head at the moment. And there's a couple times where if you play on the A section, I'm just gonna give an example. There's if you open a locker and let's say that there's a ham sandwich and a bologna sandwich, it says like, oh, you seem really hungry right now. You could eat both sandwiches, like. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to eat the bologna sandwich. So you eat the bologna sandwich, and it's like, okay, you ate the bologna sandwich, but there's still a ham sandwich. You are still pretty hungry. You could eat that sandwich, but maybe you should leave it for someone else just in case. So you could decide, like, okay, I'm going to eat the ham sandwich and then take that. But you could leave it there. And then after you play through that whole A storyline, when you go back to play as Leon or Claire or whoever you didn't play as, when you come to that point in the game where that locker is unlocked now and there would be the two sandwiches, depending on what the other file did, you would have different sandwiches. So if you didn't eat the ham sandwich but you ate the bologna sandwich, when you opened up that locker and the second story, you would find there's no bologna sandwich, but there's a ham sandwich there. Or if you ate both sandwiches, you would open locker and there'd be, sorry, no sandwiches are here right now, please come back. And that was pretty cool, because it was parts that affected the second story, and they didn't really take advantage of that though in the game. There's very few times that happened, and I feel like they could take advantage of that and really add a lot more to it. It'd be a whole nother like item management system, but in a whole different way, a whole management, I guess, system. What am I trying to say? It would just be cool if there was more things that mattered in the first part that carried over to the second part. But as I said earlier, I don't know if they're gonna go that way. I really hope they do go that way of keeping the two like files, and like, you know, you play as one and then it affects the other file. I don't think there's really much else to say. Just keep the core good. Keep the core gameplay. It's good. Keep it. Please don't change too much about it, because it already looks like they're going with the behind the shoulder. I just hope that the core gameplay stays there. There's a lot of puzzles. It's not just an action-y game. I hope there's that item management there. That's a core feature of the game. I hope they keep that, and then I hope they just expand on. I just hope they expand on the whole like level, like the whole areas. They add more rooms to it, like they did with the original remake. They add more enemies. Please get those Crimson Heads in there. I think that would be great. Add more of those Timeline A events affecting Timeline B. Do more of those. Those are really good. I feel like that could be a lot of fun. And with that, I guess that's really it. So I'm gonna try to be optimistic about the game. I'm just not sure where it's gonna go. It just didn't seem. I don't know. But I guess I don't know. I just want to find out why he has a hat. I guess. Why does he have a hat? All right. Well, thank you for hearing me out on what I had to say about the game. Hearing my hopes for it. I guess that's all I have to say about that. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.